Olivia Harrison's paintbrush hovered over the canvas as another meteor streaked across the night sky. The late August meteor shower had turned her backyard studio into the perfect spot for inspiration, but something felt different about tonight. The meteors seemed closer, more vibrant than usual, casting strange purple shadows across her half-finished landscape. Her husband, Thomas, usually buried in his engineering work, had actually joined her outside. He sat in a warm garden chair, his laptop forgotten on his lap as he gazed upward. "Have you ever seen them move like that?" he asked, pointing to a particularly bright light that seemed to dance rather than fall. "Never," Olivia admitted, setting down her brush. At 35, she'd seen plenty of meteor showers, but this one made her skin tingle. The dancing light grew larger, closer, until it was no longer just a light, but a gleaming object hurtling toward their 5-acre property. Inside, Thomas shouted, grabbing Olivia's hand. They barely made it to their back door when the object crashed into their meadow, sending up a shower of dirt and grass. The impact was oddly quiet, more like a heavy thud than an explosion. After a few minutes of tense silence, curiosity overcame caution. Olivia grabbed a flashlight from the kitchen drawer, and Thomas picked up a baseball bat. They approached the impact site together, their footsteps crunching on the frost-covered grass. The object wasn't a meteor at all. It was a pod, about the size of a small car, its surface rippling like liquid mercury. As they watched, a seam appeared in its side, spreading like a bluing flower. Inside, curled together in what looked like suspended animation, were 2 children. Except they weren't human children. Their skin was opalescent, shifting between pale blue and silver in the flashlight's beam. Delicate markings swirled across their faces like constellations, and their closed eyes seemed larger than human ones, with double lids that fluttered as they began to stir. "Thomas," Olivia whispered, her hand finding his. "They're just babies." The twins appeared to be around 6 years old, dressed in shimmering garments that seemed to be made of the same material as their pod. Before Thomas could respond, both children's eyes snapped open, revealing irises that swirled with galaxies. They spoke in unison, their voices carrying an odd harmonic quality that made Olivia's chest resonate. Though the words were alien, their meaning somehow transferred directly into her mind. "Help us. They're coming." The pod's surface suddenly turned black, crumbling like ash in the wind. Within seconds, all evidence of its alien origin had disappeared, leaving only a shallow crater and 2 terrified children huddling together in the cool night air. Olivia didn't hesitate. She shrugged off her paint-splattered jacket and wrapped it around the twins. "It's okay," she soothed, though she wasn't sure they could understand her words as she had understood theirs. "You're safe now." Thomas stood guard, scanning the sky for any sign of whatever they might be. "We need to call someone," he said. "The authorities, the military, NASA." "No." Both children spoke again, their fear palpable. Images flooded Olivia's mind. Laboratories, experiments, pain. She understood with sudden clarity that whoever was chasing these children would find them if their presence became official knowledge. "We can't," Olivia said firmly. "Look at them, Thomas. They're terrified, and they're just children." Thomas ran a hand through his graying hair, his natural caution warring with his compassion. "This is crazy, Liv. We can't just." "We can," she interrupted. "We have to. After 12 years of failed fertility treatments and adoption applications, the universe had literally dropped 2 children into their backyard." Olivia knew, with the same certainty that guided her brush across canvas, that this was meant to be. The twins had risen shakily to their feet, still holding each other's hands. One of them reached out and touched Olivia's cheek. A warm sensation spread through her body, and she saw flashes of another world, crystal spires rising into purple skies, beings of light dancing through corridors of living metal, and a terrible darkness spreading across it all. "Your world is gone?" Olivia asked gently. Both children nodded, tears like liquid starlight rolling down their cheeks. Thomas knelt beside them, his resistance crumbling as one of the twins took his hand. His sharp intake of breath told Olivia he was seeing the same visions. "We'll figure this out," he said finally. "But first, let's get you both inside where it's warm." As they walked back to the house, the children between them, more meteors fell across the sky. But Olivia knew now they weren't meteors at all. They were scouts, searching for the precious cargo that had found sanctuary in a quiet corner of Earth. Inside, as Thomas made hot chocolate and Olivia found soft blankets, the twins began to relax. They seemed fascinated by simple things. The texture of the couch, the taste of marshmallows, the sound of Olivia humming an old lullaby. "We'll need a story," Thomas said quietly, watching the children drift off to sleep. "For the neighbors, for school eventually." Olivia nodded, her artist's mind already crafting the tale. Distant relatives' children, orphaned suddenly. We're their only family now. She brushed a strand of starlit hair from one child's forehead. "We'll need to give them names." As if in response, both children stirred slightly, and their names appeared in Olivia's mind like constellation patterns. Luna and Nova. Perfect names for children who had fallen from the stars. That night, as the searchlights disguised as meteors faded from the sky, the Harrison family grew by two. None of them knew then that this was just the beginning, that Luna and Nova's royal heritage would soon catch up with them, bringing both wonders and dangers beyond imagination. But for now they were simply a family, finding each other across the vastness of space. The first signs of Luna and Nova's extraordinary abilities appeared during breakfast, 3 weeks after their arrival. Thomas was reading the morning news on his tablet when his coffee cup began to float, cream swirling in mesmerizing patterns without anyone touching the spoon. Across the table, Nova's eyes swirled with cosmic light, her attention fixed on the dancing liquid. "Sweetheart," Olivia said gently, lowering the cup back to the table. "Remember what we talked about. Not where anyone might see." The twins were learning English at an astonishing rate, absorbing language through some form of telepathic osmosis that neither Olivia nor Thomas fully understood. Luna, the more talkative of the two, spoke first. "Sorry, Mother Olivia. We forget sometimes." The formal way they addressed their adoptive parents still tugged at Olivia's heart. She'd spent the past weeks crafting their cover story, creating documentation through Thomas's less-than-legal computer skills, and transforming their home into a sanctuary. The guest room had become a magical space of glow-in-the-dark stars and aurora-like lights that seemed to comfort the twins. "It's all right," Thomas said, closing a news article about mysterious atmospheric disturbances. "But we need to be extra careful now. People are starting to notice strange things in the area." He wasn't wrong. Their small town of Millbrook had become a hotspot for unusual phenomena. Compass needles spun wildly, electronics glitched, and the northern lights appeared despite their southern location, all coinciding with the twins' arrival. "Father Thomas," Nova said, her voice carrying that musical resonance that made the windows hum, "we feel others searching. Not the bad ones, but different ones." Before Thomas could respond, a black SUV drove slowly past their house. Through the kitchen window, Olivia caught a glimpse of sophisticated equipment mounted on its roof. Inside, she said quickly, ushering the twins toward the basement studio she converted into a safe room, lined with signal-blocking materials Thomas had installed. That evening, after the twins were asleep, Olivia and Thomas sat in their garden, speaking in whispers. "We can't keep them hidden forever," Thomas said, showing her his laptop screen. "Look at these energy readings. Something about their presence is changing the fundamental physics of the area." Olivia watched as Luna's favorite flower, a simple daisy, bloomed and withered in cycles of seconds, caught in some temporal distortion. "They're getting stronger," she admitted. "Yesterday, I found Luna reading a book without opening it, absorbing the stories directly from the pages. And Nova. Nova can see things before they happen." A cool breeze carried the scent of ozone, and the air rippled like heat waves despite the evening chill. Thomas closed his laptop as tiny lights, like fireflies, but too geometric to be natural, began dancing around their garden. "They're trying to communicate with us," he realized. The lights coalesced into a shimmering pattern, forming words in an alien script that transformed into English before their eyes. "The children must be protected. The balance depends on it." Upstairs, a cry shattered the night. Olivia and Thomas raced to the twins' room to find both girls sitting upright in their beds, their skin glowing with internal light. The walls rippled with projected images. A massive spaceship emerging from clouds of stellar dust, its surface marked with the same swirling patterns that adorned the twins' faces. "They found us," Luna whispered, clutching her sister's hand. "The Guardians." But the shadows followed close behind. The room temperature dropped dramatically as Nova spoke, her words carrying the weight of prophecy. "The war that destroyed our home follows us here. We cannot run forever." Olivia sat between them, drawing both girls into her arms. Their alien warmth pulsed against her skin, reminding her of how precious and strange her daughters were. "Then we won't run," she said firmly. "We'll face whatever comes together." Thomas joined them, his engineer's mind already racing with plans. "We need to understand your powers," he said. "Not to exploit them, but to help you control them, to keep you safe." The next morning brought new challenges. During breakfast, Nova accidentally teleported her pancakes into the living room. At lunch, Luna's emotions during a minor tantrum caused all the light bulbs in the house to explode. Each incident was a stark reminder of the impossible task they'd undertaken. But there were beautiful moments too. The twins learned to channel their abilities into Olivia's art, creating paintings that seemed to move and breathe with alien life. They helped Thomas develop revolutionary energy systems in his home workshop, though he knew he could never share the discoveries with the world. As autumn approached, more mysterious vehicles appeared in their quiet neighborhood. Men in dark suits conducted surveys with strange equipment, claiming to be from the utility company. The twins grew increasingly anxious, their powers fluctuating with their emotions. One night, as Olivia tucked them into bed, Luna grabbed her hand with unusual urgency. "Mother," she said, dropping the formal addition to the title for the first time, "tomorrow everything changes. They will come with the morning light." "Who, sweetheart?" "The ones who know what we are," Nova answered. "The ones who know why we had to flee." Thomas appeared in the doorway, holding a tablet displaying a classified document he'd managed to intercept. "There's a joint task force," he said quietly. "NASA, military, intelligence agencies. They've tracked the energy signatures to our region. They'll be here by dawn." Olivia felt a familiar sensation, like static electricity racing across her skin. The twins were projecting again, sharing images of their homeworld's fall, of the powers that hunted them across the stars. But this time, they also shared something new, a vision of hope, of humans and aliens working together to forge a different path. "Then we'll be ready," Olivia declared, her artist's soul finding strength in the impossible canvas before her. "Whatever comes tomorrow, we face it as a family." The twins smiled in unison, their eyes reflecting the light of distant stars. Around them, the air shimmered with potential, with power both wonderful and terrible. As night fell over their sanctuary, none of them could know that the approaching dawn would bring not just danger, but a revelation that would reshape their understanding of family, destiny, and the very nature of their universe. The truth about Luna and Nova royal heritage was about to emerge, and with it, a choice that would affect not just their family, but the fate of two worlds. Dawn broke over the Harrison home with an otherworldly light. The sky pulsed with aurora like waves of color, too beautiful to be natural, too precise to be coincidence. Luna and Nova stood in the backyard, their opalescent skin reflecting the celestial display as three massive ships materialized through the clouds, their hulls shimmering like liquid starlight. Thomas pulled Olivia close as government vehicles swarmed their street. But before any official could reach their door, a beam of pure light descended from the largest ship, materializing into a delegation of beings that took their breath away. They were tall, ethereal creatures with the same shifting skin as the twins, but their markings were more elaborate, forming complex patterns that seemed to tell stories in light. Their leader, a figure whose presence made the air itself vibrate with authority, stepped forward. "I am Celestian, Lord Protector of the Astral Concordat." The being's voice resonated in their minds. "We come for the Starborn twins, the last heirs of the Crystal Throne." Luna and Nova moved forward, their small hands still clasped in their human parents' grip. "Lord Protector," they said in unison, their voices carrying a power that made the gathering officials and soldiers step back in awe. "We found sanctuary here. These humans are our family now." Celestian's expression softened with something like approval. "So we have observed. Your choice of guardians was unexpectedly wise." He turned to Olivia and Thomas. "You have protected our future queens without knowing their true identity. The Concordat owes you a debt." "Queens," Thomas managed, his scientific mind struggling to process the revelation. A younger delegate stepped forward, her form rippling with holographic displays of distant worlds. "The twins are the last of our royal line. When the Void insurgency attacked our capital, they were sent away in separate pods for protection. By cosmic chance, or perhaps destiny, they found each other again, here on your world." Olivia felt her daughter's grips tighten. "They're just children," she protested. "Royal or not, they need a chance to grow up safe and loved." "Precisely why we delayed our coming," Celestian agreed. "But now the Void insurgency approaches. They seek to end the royal line and plunge our worlds into chaos. The twins must be prepared to face their destiny." As if summoned by his words, dark shapes appeared at the edge of the atmosphere. Ships of obsidian and shadow, their very presence dimming the morning light. The twins trembled, but their voices remained steady. "We will not abandon Earth," Luna declared, "or our human parents." Nova nodded. "The old ways must change. 2 worlds, 2 families. This is the path forward." Celestian studied them for a long moment, while behind him, the Concordat ships moved into defensive positions against the approaching darkness. "Perhaps," he said slowly, "this is why the cosmic tides brought you here. Our civilization needs renewal as much as it needs protection." Government officials had finally reached their position, led by a woman who introduced herself as Director Hammond of a classified agency. "This is now a matter of planetary security," she began, but stopped as Luna and Nova raised their hands in perfect synchronization. The air between the groups shimmered, and suddenly everyone present shared a vision. A future where Earth and the Concordat worlds existed in harmony, with the twins bridging the gap between civilizations. They saw technological and cultural exchanges, shared defenses against cosmic threats, and a new era of growth for both species. "We propose an alliance," the twins said, their royal heritage evident in every word. "Earth will be under the Concordat's protection, and in return, humanity's creativity and resilience will help us defeat the Void insurgency." Director Hammond found herself nodding along with Celestian. The twins' power to share visions, to communicate across the barriers of species and culture, made them unique leaders, even among their own kind. But first, Olivia interjected, her maternal instinct overriding any sense of cosmic protocol. "They need breakfast, and I assume we all have a lot to discuss." The tension broke as several of the alien delegates actually laughed, a sound like wind chimes in a stellar breeze. Even the government officials cracked smiles. "Indeed," Celestian agreed. "There is much to plan and much to learn from each other." As they moved inside, aliens, officials, and family alike, Thomas caught Olivia's eye. Their quiet life of hiding was over, replaced by something far more extraordinary. Their adopted daughters were heir to an interstellar civilization, and yet they still bickered over who got the last pancake. In the sky above, the Concordat ships engaged the first wave of Void vessels, their battle hidden from ordinary humans by advanced technology. But the war was no longer just about the royal line or control of distant worlds. It was about protecting the unique bridge these two children represented, a bridge between stars and soil, between ancient power and new perspectives. Luna and Nova sat at their familiar kitchen table, now surrounded by beings out of Earth's wildest science fiction, and began explaining their morning routine to fascinated alien dignitaries. They were both children and queens, humans and aliens, the future of two civilizations sharing breakfast in a small-town kitchen. The balance of power in the galaxy had shifted the moment two pods crashed in a quiet backyard. Now, as multiple worlds held their breath to see what would come next, a simple human family prepared to help two young queens navigate their destiny, one pancake at a time. The journey to the twins' homeworld aboard the Celestian flagship felt like stepping into one of Olivia's paintings come to life. Corridors of living crystal pulsed with bioluminescent light, and windows opened onto vistas of nebulae and star clusters that no human telescope had ever captured. Luna and Nova moved through the ship with growing confidence, their royal heritage evident in how the crew responded to their presence. Yet they still clung to their human parents' hands when meeting new delegates, reminding everyone that they were still children despite their destiny. "The Crystal Palace awaits, my queens," announced Celestian as they approached a massive ringed planet with 3 moons. "But so do our enemies." Dark ships lurked at the system's edges, void insurgency vessels watching, waiting. The twins' return had been anticipated, and not all welcomed the changes they represented. "They fear what will become," Luna said, her hand pressed against a window. Nova finished her sister's thought. "Because we're no longer just astral. We're human too." The capital city took Olivia's breath away. Crystal spires rose miles into the purple sky, connected by bridges of pure light. But signs of the civil war were evident in the scarred buildings and wary faces of the inhabitants. Their arrival sparked immediate controversy. Traditional factions of the Concordat questioned the human parent's presence, while reformers celebrated the unprecedented union of two species. Through it all, Thomas and Olivia remained steady, focused on protecting their daughters as they navigated court politics and assassination attempts. The twins' powers grew stronger in their ancestral home. They could now shape reality itself, but tempered their abilities with human compassion and creativity. When a group of traditionalists attempted to separate them from their human parents, Luna and Nova demonstrated why they were different from any rulers who had come before. "Our strength comes from unity," they declared to the assembled court, their combined powers creating a display of both human and astral history intertwined. "We will not choose between our worlds. Both have shaped us. Both will guide us." Thomas's engineering expertise proved invaluable in upgrading the palace's defenses against void weapons, while Olivia's artistic sensitivity helped bridge cultural gaps between humans and astrals. They were no longer just parents but ambassadors, proving through their actions that humanity deserved its place among the stars. As the first battle for the capital approached, the family faced their greatest test. The Void Insurgency launched a massive assault, threatening to destroy everything unless the twins surrendered their claim to the throne. Standing together on the Crystal Palace's highest tower, the Harrison family prepared to show the universe what human love combined with astral power could achieve. The final battle for the Crystal Palace reshaped reality itself. Luna and Nova, guided by their human parents' unwavering support, unveiled the full extent of their unique heritage. They were neither fully astral nor human, but something entirely new, bridge makers between worlds. As void ships breached the outer defenses, the twins joined hands and began to sing. It was a melody Olivia used to hum to them on Earth, but now it carried power that made the stars themselves resonate. Their combined abilities, enhanced by human creativity and emotion, created a defense never before seen in the Concordat. Thomas's modified shields held against the initial assault, buying time for the twins to implement their own solution. Instead of destroying their enemies, they offered understanding. Through their powers, they showed the Void Insurgents the beauty of cooperation between species, the strength found in diversity rather than purity. Many of the attackers stood down, their hearts and minds opened to new possibilities. Those who continued fighting found themselves contained by barriers of light and song, their weapons transformed into artworks of peace. In the aftermath, Luna and Nova instituted a new form of governance. The Crystal Throne became a bridge between civilizations, with Earth formally welcomed into an expanded Concordat. The twins would split their time between worlds, learning from both cultures as they grew into their roles. Olivia and Thomas remained their anchors, helping them balance cosmic responsibilities with the simple joys of childhood. Their family home in Millbrook became a symbol of interstellar cooperation, where diplomatic meetings might pause for cookie-baking sessions or art lessons. Years passed, and the Harrison family's legacy spread across the stars. The twins grew into wise young rulers who never forgot their dual heritage. They established schools where human and astral children could learn together, created art that blended both worlds' perspectives, and maintained the peculiar tradition of Sunday pancake breakfasts in both the Crystal Palace and their Earth home. Other human families eventually adopted astral children, and astral families welcomed human ones, following the path the Harrisons had pioneered. The boundaries between species blurred, as love proved stronger than biology. On the twins' 18th birthday, celebrated under both Earth's sun and the triple moons of their homeworld, Olivia and Thomas watched their daughters address representatives from 100 worlds. "We are all cosmic children," Luna began. "Finding our way home among the stars," Nova continued. Together, they concluded, "And family is where you create it." Later that night, after the grand ceremonies, the Harrison family gathered in their private chambers. Luna and Nova, now elegant young queens, but still their little girls, curled up with their parents, just as they had on that first night on Earth. Did you ever imagine this? Thomas asked Olivia softly, watching their daughters manipulate stardust into shapes just for fun.